Hello, everybody. My name's Milan Starcic. Welcome to Freedom Rising, a podcast dedicated to empowering individuals on the journey to personal growth, lasting serenity, and freedom from addiction. Tune in and join the movement. Your journey to freedom starts here. We neither represent, promote, or demote any 12-step program or organization. We are merely souls on the path of recovery with the desire to expand our lives and experiences and share them with you. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to the 228th Recovery Freedom Rising podcast. I'm Milan Starcic, and today we have a new co-host, Wes. Wes, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself so the audience can get to know you?
Sure. My name is Wes Zevertalo. It's a very long last name, and a lot of people have a lot of time pronouncing it because it starts with a Z. Going from there, that's usually my introduction. I just by title in my work environment, I'm a executive director for an organization called People Lived Experience Society. It's not that I'm not proud of that title. It's just I think it's an over exaggeration of what I do. It's really is what I am. Is I support people with lived and living experience, and our mandate of our organization is really to provide employment opportunities for people with lived experience and stuff. People who have been marginalized, have experienced trauma in their life, and are just trying to, again, put the pieces of their life perhaps back together or in their recovery and working on their goals. And a lot of their goals is, again, just economics, is to have some income coming in, some extra income coming in, supporting themselves or whatever that may be. It's not that I don't go door to door and ask for employment opportunities from different businesses. Kind of sound it's specifically either through grants that we hold, that we run specific programs, or we have contracts exactly as kind of a social enterprise and provide opportunities for people to work. So yeah, that's my work environment. I'm I don't know, a father of two adult, beautiful ladies. My daughters are wonderful, and they've blessed me with three grandchildren. I got
Amazing.
two granddaughters and a grandson. And my favorite word in the whole world is grandpa.
Woo!
Makes me shine and go take me to places I've never been to. So yeah, it's wonderful. So yeah, that's really me in a nutshell. I'm
I have not been
pretty straight.
blessed to be hearing that
Yeah,
word grandpa to me
yeah,
yet,
yeah,
but I look forward to the day that I get that blessing in my life.
sure.
Um, so my podcast here is
Yeah,
Recovery Freedom Rising. And, it really has to do with the freedom rising inside people's hearts as they're stepping from addiction into their life of sobriety or clean, recovery, whatever, whether it's drugs or alcohol. To me, it doesn't matter. It's all really addiction. And
yeah,
it's, there's an element of freedom from that compulsion, that obsession. But, a big part of that is reintegrating, health, rest, eating properly, exercise into their life, into their
mhm,
relations. And a big step of that is about work.
yeah,
Because most people have either burned a lot of bridges to get to where their life turns around.
hmm,
I would say it's a very small minority who actually even still have their jobs in this, right?
yeah, yeah,
So somebody in the role that you're in, I see, kind of you as a facilitator of the freedom rising for them,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
yeah, and so
Yeah,
like it's
yeah,
uh that reintegration for them is like a practical application of the spiritual principles inside their program. And I
yeah,
understand that you yourself are not recovering from that. But
yeah,
what I would like to say though is that, you're definitely a facilitator of these steps. These people
yeah,
probably don't have a way to make a connection or just don't feel confident inside themselves
right.
to like one of the things that I've thought is because for me I had to really start rebuilding my finances, right?
Yeah.
And it was said to me about a year ago at a meeting, the seventh tradition of AA or NA or any of the 12-step programs is
Yeah.
that, that AA or NA is fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. And what
Mm.
this person said at the meeting was that, they had gotten straight or clean, and they're after 3 years they were just still mired in debt and borrowing from people. And
Yeah.
that dependency
Yeah.
takes away some of your independence of
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
And I never
Absolutely.
really thought of it like that, like
Mhm.
you choose a certain way because if your source of income isn't your own sweat equity, right? Then you have to
Yes. Yeah.
yes or no sir 3 bags full to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
so like your society,
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
just go into a first question here, is
Sure.
is titled Lived People Experience.
Hmm.
And so how have you found, that simple act of naming an addict or the person with trauma as
Yeah.
a person with valuable experience, how does it help them surrender some of the shame they're feeling at that point in their life?
Well, the biggest part of it is it's again just kind of you kind of almost touched on it is it's their economics, but it's their independence again. They're starting to self-identify who they are. They're starting to learn who they are again.
Mm,
And they what I've discovered in a lot of this work that I've done is there is just so much untapped talent out there, skills, knowledge. I mean, they've been through it all, and I mean, you talk about resilience. I mean, there's nobody greater in resilience than somebody that's recovering themselves. I mean,
mm,
they've been through it up and down and backwards and whatever it happens to be in so many cases, kinds of stuff. And providing them an opportunity to work again, it helps their self-identity. It starts to shed a little bit of that shame. It gives them a sense of connection, a sense of belonging. I belong to something. And more than anything, I always use the word purpose. It gives me purpose. Because
mm,
I talk to people and I say, can you imagine getting up every day and with nothing? Like I wake up
mm,
and where do I go? What do I do? Who do I speak to? And work maybe not is the only answer, but it's part of the answer. Like it gives me something to do in the day. And it can perhaps take me away from unfortunate habits, bad habits, whatever you want to call them. And it just gives me a different direction in my life that
mm,
I've got something to look forward to. And it's different. And like the word again, belonging. I belong to something better. I can give back. I can do good things, whatever it happens to be. But the first and foremost is still it's just within yourself. How can you um, giving work allows you to giving gives you purpose, but allows you to feel better about yourself, of who you are, that you're a contributing member to society, I guess, if nothing else. Yeah.
and there's that old saying, I think it's, what is it, idle hands are the devil's playground.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
absolutely.
there was a good friend who I met this year in the program.
Yeah.
He's mid to late 60s.
Mm.
He has never gotten a year sobriety in his life. And
Wow.
at 8 months clean this year,
Hmm.
he decided he wanted to buy a Corvette.
Wow.
And so he didn't have a driver's license even. And
Yeah.
he literally
Yeah.
worked every day but 3 per month
Yeah.
at washing dishes to buy
Yeah.
this car. But he made it to a year.
Wow. Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
it was that purpose. It was that goal,
Cool.
like he
Yeah.
had something to shoot for. And and he's still working on getting his license.
Yeah.
he's
Good. Yeah.
he's actually working now on thinking about buying a motorcycle too.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, you should be thinking about driving lessons.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's again, I go back to the word resilience. I mean, that is a whole 180 turn in his mindset as well. Like he's got a purpose, he's got a goal, and he's still I'm sure every day funding his recovery as well, and those
Yeah.
are challenges that, I guess somebody that's not in addiction has to go through, so to speak. And so kudos on, like I say, that's why I'm always so enamored. I'm so impressed with these people, the things they can do, you know. Um, yeah,
And so I've got a question here. Like, I'm just in my mind trying
yeah,
to visualize the logistics. How do how do you make the connection between not knowing somebody at all
yeah,
and finding out their skill set and connecting them with something that they're capable of doing?
yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit of a process kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Number one, I love to meet people one on one. Okay,
yeah, hmm
and definitely and I always just call it a coffee chat. Let's sit
yeah.
down and have a coffee,
Okay.
and then I think what we really do in our organization is we spend a lot of time listening
Okay.
and really listening and not again reducing that stigma, that judgment on them, because every story is absolutely unique and different. The traumas are all, there's no one trauma that's greater than anybody else's trauma kinds of stuff. It's all that
Yeah.
individual things, and look at everybody as an individual. And I know the words we kind of throw out there kind of says is just accepting people where they're at. And that's very true, but it comes with a little bit of a caveat there too. It still has to come with some boundaries and accountability on those people, and that's another thing that we put on them kind of thing. And one of those very first things is the accountability to simply show up.
hmm
It's your very first task that I ask anybody to do, like whatever opportunity we provide for them. The very first thing I need you to do is show up consistently. Be there when you're asked to be there. That's your responsibility. I can't drag you there or whatever it happens to be. And
So, what is the consequences that are part of that boundary system?
yeah, well, because if you're not able to, yeah, and that's a great point because
Is it like
there's
three
some
strikes
conflict.
you're out, or how do
There's,
you work that?
well, yeah, in our organization, and I'm not going to say we're unique, but I'm sure there's other places kind of stuff. We have a lot of flexibility because we understand that people aren't going to necessarily do well in their first time. But the first thing is for them to identify it and not hide from it and not say, oh, and come up with a million and one excuses.
Yep.
God, I may be having a bad week and things have happened, or it may be some kind of anniversary, some trauma that have happened, or whatever it is, and identify that in yourself and be able to come forward and say, and that's what we're hoping to have is just sort of like that open door idea that, I'm not doing well this week. I might need to take some time off today or whatever it happens to be. And that's okay and totally understandable about that stuff. But I always, again, the other thing I always emphasize to people is don't go MIA on me, because I can't help you that way. No one can, we
Yeah.
can't help you. And so
Ghosting.
please converse. Yeah, don't ghost us, right? And we really try to, is setting that environment of there is no judgment, there is no shame here. It's okay, we've all been there, we all done that, and it's okay. And just accepting them where they're at. Of course, I guess probably the worst thing you do is go MIA because then I can't do anything about you. We still have to fulfill an obligation of the job, different things like that. But the other thing is too is I can always find somebody else to step in for a short period of time if I have
Yeah.
to, right?
hmm
And we can always do that kinds of stuff. And you can come back when
Is
you're
there a
ready.
waiting
We
list for your services?
What's that?
Is there a waiting list for your services? Like
Oh
for the
yeah,
people wanting to do it?
for one. Oh yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
can't. I can't find enough jobs.
Okay. Okay.
There are people that want to work, absolutely, and
Yeah.
want to do those kinds of stuff. And 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 all of our work again, because everybody is going through their challenges and stuff like that, and are at different stages of their recovery kinds of stuff. Everybody still just works part-time. And it's not a full-time gig. It's try not to put a lot of pressure on you to completely change whatever you have to do and to sacrifice other responsibilities because I mean you're working a whole bunch of things. You may be working on putting your family back together. You may be working on just your own personal things. You're working on your health and stuff that you've recovered, like you've noted. There's a whole bunch of other things that they have to continue to work on. And I always say that employment is a piece of your puzzle. It's not the answer to everything, but it's a piece that will help you along the way.
And so now, for what you've done in your job,
Yeah.
can you tell me, prior to this, what work experience or education led you to this?
Yeah, my background is a little bit varied from this kinds of stuff. Um,
Mhm.
Actually, I have a master's degree in public recreation. It's a
Oh,
unique thing that the most of my
I've never met someone
never
with that.
exactly. Yes, they're unique. It's a unique opportunity. Anyway, so yeah, most of my employment years or career years was in sports and recreation. That was my background or whatever. But I took kind of the direction of coaching. Was kind of my expertise or whatever you want to call it. This is the kind of work that I really like to do. I love to coach people.
What
I
sports,
believe
or was
people
it personal coaching?
both. Yeah, yeah. And there's a lot of sports coaching and stuff like that comes with personal coaching, and our personal coaching follows it. Um, yeah, so it's a little different. I don't know what I've always believed. I mean, my motto is like people are, 100 times better than the worst thing they've ever done in their life, and
Ooh,
and I
yeah.
think there is, just so much potential out there for people, and they can change and have a better life than whatever they were doing, and they can work towards things and believing themselves. Has been always my thing. And I don't know, I really have faith in people. Like just
Mm,
bottom line is, I don't think anybody does anything with a whole bunch of, and there may be some exclusions, so with really ill intent to cause harm or hurt or whatever kinds of stuff. A lot of actions are, spontaneous, not really thought out well or whatever it happens to be. But yeah, so it's just a little bit different. I guess I don't really have a great description of how I got into this, but this is, when I got into, I guess a little bit more of this kind of social work kind of aspect, it was the people with lived experience that I admired the most. That's where I learned the most is from them, and I really value what they have to share, and I believe what they have to share because they've been there and done that. It's real. When I hear of people who even onset with depression and understanding that, and at first I could never figure out, well, how can you be depressed and not do things? But the reality is, when I know I'm supposed to do it, and I have the capability to do it. I just physically and mentally can't do it.
mm,
It's just the way it is, and you have to accept that because I don't believe they're making it up. It's not that they don't want to.
mm,
They're in a point at that time that they just can't, and that's okay.
mm,
And we'll figure it out
mm.
from there and move on.
You know, I'm a realtor, trapped in a musician's body, but
Okay.
my oldest client I ever had, her name was Rosa Metzler. She was 94 at the time when
Mm,
I helped her, and she
yeah.
looked over at me and said one time, she said, "Nobody thinks they're the villain.
Yeah.
Everybody is a culmination of their life experiences." And she said, so if somebody is acting in a way that sorry, my daughter was just trying to call it. If
It's
somebody's
okay.
acting in a way that is hurtful, they're like, imagine how they were hurt to normalize that.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
this lady had a tattoo from the Nazi death camps, like had watched a
Wow.
bunch of
Wow.
her
Yeah.
family die.
Yeah.
And and it just if that it's always stuck with me because it's like when I'm feeling like I'm getting hurt from somebody or I'm seeing somebody act in a way, now I can see that hurt little child inside them.
Yes.
And another thing that happened to
Yeah.
me growing up was that I watched all these friends put these boxes around themselves
Yeah.
and never think they could be more than that. You know, like I
Yes.
was
Yeah.
fortunate enough to have a mother that loved me, and my mom said I could do anything I wanted. And I was naive enough to believe her. So
Yeah.
I, like in my life, I don't really put myself in very many boxes because of
Yes.
that. And it sounds like very similar to you is that, you see that person without the box and
Yeah,
you're trying to
absolutely.
facilitate their vision of that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And
Mm,
like I say, thank you. You put it really well. I do see them outside of that box, and I see their potential, and it hurts me when when they stop believing in themselves. And that's the
yeah.
biggest thing is to get that believing in yourself. The same thing is somebody expressed to me one time that I'm not worthy, and it
Mm,
hurt just to even hear those words come out of some. You're not worthy. Of course you're worthy. You are
yeah.
a human being. Like, you are worthy of anything you want in this life, and you should be, and because to me that just like, if you're saying you're not worthy, you're not valuable. Oh my
Mm,
God, you are valuable beyond belief. Like,
yeah.
I mean, every one of us has something to give to this world,
Mm,
one way or the other. And yeah, so it's sometimes it's words like that that I hear, and I'm sure that people, you yourself have heard them and stuff like that. Uh, I don't know. I just when I hear those words, to me it's a call to action.
mm,
I want to help you, you
yeah.
know, and I want to help you on your terms, though.
Yeah.
I don't want to force anything on you. Um, I always say this expression I always again say is that don't shit on me. Like, don't
Mm,
tell me what I have to do to do this. Like,
mm.
let me figure this out and let's talk about it and work through it together. Is probably the best thing I can offer anybody.
One kind of friend and mentor early on in the program for me,
Yeah.
he said, "You want self-esteem, do esteemable things,
Yeah.
and becoming dependable in an occupation,
Yeah.
doing something, becoming more self-sustaining. Those are esteemable things. Being a person
Absolutely.
who shows up when they say they're going to,
Yeah.
that is building integrity in you,
Yeah.
you know." And not stealing from the person you're working for. That's building
Yeah.
honesty,
Yeah.
there's so many parts to what work can do for you. Like, I remember inside my addiction thinking freedom was like me just getting to do whatever I wanted to do,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
and now I see freedom as something that comes from me having the discipline and commitment to not create cognitive dissonance in my brain
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
through that integrity and that honest action, so it's really funny how even just what you think something is can change just
Yeah.
through a principled action, because
That's
I
right.
do believe that showing up for work all the time is a principled action of integrity and
Yeah.
commitment
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, I got another
Oh,
question here. So
sure.
when an individual walks into your office,
Yeah.
how do you help them balance, the humility and surrender that itself takes with the confidence that they need to re-enter the workforce? Like when you're talking about the people who aren't worthy,
Yeah.
how do how what do you do or say to help them, feel confident enough to start?
Yeah. Well, of course, the very first thing I do, and I encourage people to do is find out their name. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, you'll be surprised how many people don't even know somebody's name or something. They want to be introduced or whatever and help out, just that kinds of stuff. And then the conversation really always starts out as, I like I would ask you to share with me whatever it is that you're comfortable sharing. You can go into whatever detail you want to, or very little detail, and just tell me a little bit about yourself. And that's my time just to sit and listen to what they have to say and go from
Mm,
there. And and then follow that up with, again, not I'm not surprised or shocked or anything like that. And and then the next question is like, what are you looking to do? What can you do? What are you interested in doing? And trying to really kind of what is that word? Is not judge them, but just stay curious about them,
Mm,
and make them feel comfortable about that. Whatever they're sharing with me is not wow, like that's I'm shocking or whatever it happens to be. It
mm,
is, and that's just the reality of it, and it's okay. Whatever they have to do with it. I don't know. I don't know the example. It's just a really weird example. Again, if you this is a high school teacher that showed me this when somebody gets hurt, injured or whatever like that, and a bad, I think this was a situation where maybe we were playing Florida or something, and somebody got hit with a stick and got a bad cut, you know, and the very first thing everybody's going, oh my God, like, wow, that looks crazy. And, what a terrible thing. You're definitely going to need stitches and stuff like that. And I remember this teacher saying that's the worst thing you can tell somebody once they're hurt. Like
yeah.
you comfort and care them at first, right? And it's gonna be okay. It's not that bad or whatever. Like you don't add extra trauma
Stress.
to it or
Yeah.
whatever like that, And that's the same thing. It's just when somebody comes in and wants to talk about their life situation, is yeah, I just accept it,
Mm,
and it's okay. And I don't exaggerate it, and I ask them not to exaggerate it either.
mm,
And yeah, that's really the simplest thing. It's and again, I don't know if everybody's treated as an individual. I got a lot of people will come in quiet and don't want to share too much. And then I got people that will come in very angry and upset and mad at things, right? And I realize that they're not mad at me. They're just mad at their circumstances, right? And that's
mm.
just how it is. And that's okay. But yeah, and then it usually takes, maybe even 2 or 3 meetings to just kind of chat with people and find out where they're at and just help them through whatever they have to do and see what we can do and where the fit can happen for them. And sometimes there isn't a fit.
Yep.
I'm not gonna say that we're 100% for sure and everything like that. And
Yep.
and there's a lot of times too, well, people will try something out and think that's what they wanted, but it wasn't what they wanted, and that's okay too. And that's all
I
right.
think it's important to learn what you don't want as much as what you want in life.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
my old girlfriends are proof of that.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, this is so true, right?
Mm. Okay, I got another question here for you.
Sure.
What unique challenges do people in your program face when they're trying to find a workplace that would be, like have compassion for that unique uh, growth and freedom
Growth,
rising
yeah.
in them? Yeah.
Yeah, when we place people, I mean, there's two parts to it again. Whenever we find a place or to put somebody, what we do is we train a lot of the people if they want to become what we call a peer navigator, and then we will uh, place them out into other social service agencies with that, and with the whole concept that their peers, as people with lived experience, see things from a different lens. They say things uniquely and a little bit different. And I always say they always add context to the content of what's really going on out there.
Okay. I
And
like that.
so it's really different. So part of, I guess, the second part is we try to provide some training to those agencies or employees or employers that are um, choosing to work with these people. Give them a little bit of a background of what's going on and how to handle kinds of stuff like that,
Mm.
and get them to understand that it's sometimes their reactions aren't going to be exactly what you've expected, maybe a little bit different or what happens to be. Sorry.
Now,
Yep.
just a question, just for
Yeah.
because I'm sure that other people might have the same things.
Hmm.
Now, when you're saying you're providing this training, so
Yeah.
if it was a business, for
Yeah.
example, a business selling garden implements, right?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is it the manager there that you would offer some training for, or is it the
Well,
other staff who would be working with them, or so?
all of the above, and that's a great learning point because early on we learned that yeah, we'll just kind of train kind of the supervisor or maybe the HR person or whatever it was
Yeah.
about kinds of stuff. And then there was a whole disconnect between the people they were actually working with,
Hmm.
because they didn't get it. They just thought they were just another employee and didn't understand what was going on, kinds of stuff. So there has
Okay.
to be some education as well as for the people that they're working with,
Yeah.
and get them to understand, because that sometimes can be a real disconnect. Um, for sure, which is so important. So yeah, it's not just their supervisor, their manager, or whatever happens to be, but it's having everybody understand the situation or helping them understand that situation. And again, it's I don't know if I'm really describing it as understanding. It's not understanding their individual situation, but it's accepting people with lived experience, that this person that's coming here has got some value. They're bringing some value to our company,
Hmm.
to our organization. And it's not, I say, it's not understanding their personal struggles that they've gone through and accepting that kind of stuff. As a whole, are you willing to accept a person that has maybe gone through, is in recovery and has addiction
Hmm.
problems and has had some history of, if not great behavior in the past? And
Hmm.
you're okay with that. Again, not having judgment, not having stigma on that person.
Now,
Sure.
just came to my mind is that
Yeah.
does your organization in any way subsidize their wages with these employers as an incentive to do
Oh
this?
yeah. This is the
Okay.
coup for us, right? I mean, this is
Okay. Okay. So if you
and
could
quite often
describe a little bit of that.
in double, yeah, I shouldn't say we do have programs, we do subsidize
Hmm.
the wages, which makes it a little more attractive, of course, for those
Hmm.
kinds of people. The issue with that one, which I will always kind of talk to organizations or companies about, is usually that's from grant funding. And unfortunately, guess what? Grant funding runs out.
Yeah.
And so the biggest compliment you can pay us and pay that employee is to say, listen, we'll take them on after this is done, while they're
Yeah.
in that kind of phase, and to continue on. And that's our ultimate goal,
And
is we want them to
are they
continue
like
on. Yeah.
are they agreeing to that with like a probationary period of that
Yeah.
person proving themselves?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
if so,
Yeah.
what does that period generally look like? Three
Yeah,
months, 6 months,
yeah,
or
it's a little bit longer than what normal. I mean, normally it's like a 3 month kinds of stuff.
yep,
I ask people to give them at least 6 months,
yeah.
to
I
work through things and understanding. And again, funding or subsidized funding will probably only cover up to about 6 months anyway. Where
mhm.
we can help them out, and then hopefully they're willing to take on after that. Um,
And what would you
but
say your placement is for like in if there's a 6 month period,
yeah.
what percentage would you say get hired on after that? Do you have that statistic?
I I don't have a real good concrete statistic,
Mhm. Yep.
um, but I will.
Half,
I'm gonna
three
be, yeah. I'm gonna
quarters.
say, conservatively. I'm gonna say half. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Still though,
Um,
that's
yeah,
like that's a lot of people that would not be independent after
yeah.
six
No,
months.
exactly,
Like
exactly.
that's an incredible like, and so annually, how many people would your organization work with
Oh,
on average?
annually, probably, at any one time, we probably have about 24 people on the go,
Yeah,
all the time, kinds of stuff. I've been up as high as 40 people, but throughout the year, again, it probably doubled that, probably around 40, 48 people, that kind of go
that's
through the
amazing.
program in something different. Yeah, it is amazing. It's, really,
That's a lot of
really
lives
good.
you're changing,
And we have,
like
and we run a variety, I don't know. What I'm always very proud of is even some of the programs that we just run ourselves.
mm,
Um, I'm so proud of the fact that this is all run by people with lived and living experience. This is not academically, um, charged, this kind of
hmm.
stuff. So, example, so we run a 10-room transition housing unit for Indigenous adults,
Okay.
abstinence, housing
Yeah,
unit, and
yeah.
that, like that. And there's not,
And that's in Kelowna as well.
it's in Kelowna as well. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And it is 100% run by people with lived experience,
And does that,
top to
do they have
bottom.
to have status or can they
Yes.
still be in the claiming process?
No, they have to have status. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And why that is, Milan, is simply because that's where the funding comes from. It comes
Yeah.
strictly from an Indigenous stream of funding.
Yeah. Okay.
that has to do that, and that's okay. I mean, and
And do
that's
you guys
fantastic.
own that house or are you
No, we
just
don't.
tenants
No.
in it?
Yeah, we're just tenants in it. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But I say that what I'm proud of is uniqueness, and I've got nothing against. I mean, professionals and academics that do this work. It's
Yeah.
difficult work, but I'm like I say, I'm so proud of the fact that we operate, I think, a very successful
Hmm.
housing unit. It's unique in the fact that it is abstinent. It's not
Hmm.
a wet house at all. It's 100% dry house kind of stuff, and and it is just run by people that have been there, done that, know what it's all
Okay.
about. And,
Two questions
yeah,
I have is
yeah,
first of all, do they have to have gone through some kind of treatment? Like, is it like a second stage living?
yeah. Let's go with that. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
do get a lot of re people have to get referred
Yeah.
to us kind of stuff, and a lot of them are coming from recovery places,
Hmm.
whatever rehab places. Um, little bit more than just a week in detox or 10 days. We're
Yeah.
looking for a little bit more in that kinds of stuff. Exactly.
And
So
is
yeah,
there mandatory drug testing for the enforcement of it being a clean house?
right. There is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's on a, well, either on a volunteer basis or just under a suspicious basis
Yeah.
that
Yep.
we will do that. We're not asking you to
Mhm.
come in absolutely every week and do it kinds of
Yep.
stuff.
I went
We're
to
not.
options in
Yeah.
Kelowna.
Yeah.
And yeah, once everybody got tested going in, but
Right.
the testing during that period was absolutely random and suspicious based.
Right.
Like
Right.
they didn't test me. They were like, yeah, we know you're not messed up. you
Yeah,
know,
no, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it's just a way. And again,
yeah,
even then, if they have, I mean, then let's sit down and relook at your plan. People are going to slip.
yeah,
It just
yeah.
happens. It's not a one and done and you're out kind of thing. Let's see
Okay,
what we can do. Like let's try to
okay.
work through this kind of stuff. Because the biggest
So
effect is
describe that process
we
a little bit.
well, again, it's just it's once they if they've tested kind of positives for what some kind of substance that they've been using or whatever, again, they're brought in and they're talked to, and we ask them to explain what happened, or number one, we don't want them to be in denial.
Mhm.
Very first thing is, oh, that wasn't me, or it was I just happened to be walking by somebody and inhaled something. I'm going, no, 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 like that's the neat thing about having people that work there. They've
Mhm.
heard all these excuses 100
Yeah,
million times, right? And they've used
yeah,
them themselves.
yeah.
So so we want them to say, okay, yeah, I did. I slipped and identify that, okay, I had a
Mhm.
problem. I did whatever
Yeah.
it was or whatever, you know, and then maybe see what maybe caused that. What was the cause of it?
Mhm.
Was there a
Mhm.
reason that they can kind of justify doing that kinds of stuff? And then say, okay, what can we do now to prevent this from happening again? Let's go back to your plan. Let's go back to your work plan, and see what we can revisit and try to adjust, change, whatever it happens to be, you know. So
And if you're willing to have a reconciliation with them about this,
yeah.
would you generally have a short period of mandatory testing, like once a
Yeah,
week or
well, exactly.
something?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you
That's
don't
exactly.
want a bad apple poisoning a house.
No, exactly. And this
It
is
creates a
very,
very
very
dangerous
important.
environment for
Yeah.
for other people who could be suffering, or feeling close to the edge. Last thing you want
Yeah.
to do is see someone else high in your house.
No, exactly. And we stress that to every single tenant. I mean, you
Yeah,
guys now are your biggest supporters for each other. You
yeah.
can help each other out
Kind of like a
here. And
family,
we don't
really.
want to have that. And that's why we really try to nip it in the bud right away.
Yeah,
Exactly. Because it can be very triggering, traumatizing for other people in the home.
yeah.
Exactly. And again, through some of our experiences, you find that if one bad apple, then they'll end up with another bad apple because they'll
Mhm.
coerce somebody else to get involved
Mhm.
and do whatever. So yeah,
And so now this building,
yeah,
you said you don't own it. Does the government
no,
own it, or is it
no,
privately owned?
it's privately owned. Yeah, Yeah.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
some sort of long-term contract
Right.
with the landlord.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
nice.
Do it that way. I
And
mean, ideally it'd be lovely if we could own it, but again,
yeah,
it's yeah.
Kelowna has gotten so ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
there would
Yeah.
literally have to be some sort of massive donation from
Oh
somebody
yeah.
to
No,
step into that role. You know, like
to do that. Yeah.
even me and other people that I'm kind of involved with in recovery, you know, have
Yeah.
fantasized about starting a treatment center.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just like, whoa, like it's so daunting. Like it's so
Yes.
daunting, you know, how does a bunch of ex-addicts come up with $3 million or something? You know,
Yeah.
like
No, exactly. I know exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Like
that would be just to get it off the ground.
that would
Exactly.
literally probably not even include sheets and towels. Like, you know, you sleep on the floor the first month.
Yeah, if for once it'd be
Yeah.
okay.
BYOT when you're coming in, bring your
Yeah.
own towels.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I got another question here. So,
Sure.
for many, the past includes some legal wreckage of their past, you know. So, how does your
Mhm.
society advocate for employers to let go of their prejudices to see the integrity of a person building a new life?
Yeah, good one. Because that question does come up, right?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
it is a valid concern and a question for that kinds of stuff. Again, it's as simple as we just ask them to believe that they have changed and
mm,
they're walking their life differently, and that was the past, and not to again that
are they doing
think that
criminal
that's going to
record
be
checks on
repeated.
the people though?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah,
so if something
yeah,
comes up, like
yeah,
say theft, right?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
um, are the employers having conversations with the people about this,
Mhm.
or is that just like taboo, you know?
No, no, no. I mean, and that's what I encourage is open dialogue with them, and we try to prepare
Yep.
them that they may be questioned about those kinds of stuff.
Are you
And,
present
and
for
most
this questioning, or do you let them deal with this on their own?
No, I try to have somebody present as well. And again,
Okay.
and it's not, and I say it's not that I don't want to call anybody that are advocates. They're support people, um, just to get them to help support that person that's there,
Mhm.
being questioned and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't really want to leave them out there to dry.
Yeah. Well,
It's a tough situation sometimes to answer. Um,
and you know, you know, like a lot, I never had legal issues, but it was just by luck. You
yeah,
know, like I
yeah,
have friends who went to jail, and it was like they weren't doing
yeah.
anything different than me. It was just
Yeah.
by the luck of circumstance of somebody
Hmm.
getting pulled over at the wrong time. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah,
and by whatever grace that didn't happen to me, but that doesn't make
yeah.
me better. You know?
No, 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 exactly. And I mean,
Well,
and you say it in a lot of these, I mean, unless it was a real a criminal charge of violence or sexual behaviors or whatever kinds of stuff, we really theft is unfortunately common, I guess,
yeah, I mean, people
you know.
steal from their family members to support
Yeah,
their addictions,
yeah,
right?
no,
Like, I
exactly.
mean,
Yeah, I
of
mean,
course, why aren't they going to steal from a stranger?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So,
Hmm.
yeah. So
Okay,
so
I got
we
another
haven't had
one
a
here
lot of
for you.
issues that way, but they do happen, that's for sure. Yeah,
So
yeah.
we often say our past is our greatest asset. So
Hmm.
how do you help individuals translate, say, staying clean through a storm into professional skills like crisis management or reliability? You know?
Because I say it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I say, I don't have to preach to you about resilience, about getting through something. I
Mm,
mean, you've been through it all. You know what this
mm,
is like, and
mm,
again, some of the life storms that they maybe experience are problems they have to solve at their workplace is so minor compared to what they've been through. And I try to remind them of that. Like, you've been through a heck of a lot worse than this.
mm.
Like, and you've come out the other side. And we can get through this kinds of side as well. in these kinds of situations because um, yeah, again, the word resilience, we don't have to preach to them about getting through things. You've done
Mhm.
that, you
Yeah.
know, and
Mhm.
and uh, and for that reason, I think I give you tons of respect. That's because yeah, I think you've been there and done it.
Now, does somebody like in order to become part of your program,
Yeah.
does somebody have to qualify with a certain amount of clean time? Like just to sort of like show that they're genuine about it. Like, I mean, like coming in and saying, "Hey, I'm 2 days clean. Can you get me a job, Wes?" Like
Yeah,
that doesn't
yeah.
show very much to me. And so I'm just wondering what your standard is, you know?
Yeah, again, we do. There's not really a written standard or anything like that, but definitely, I mean, we do have people. Yeah, I've been clean for 2 days or a week or whatever happened might be, or I've cut down. I'm not using as much as I did, but sometimes, what does that mean? You were using 10 times a day and now you're only using 5 times a day. I don't know what that happens to
Yeah.
be. Those kinds of stuff. So yeah, we just really emphasize, is this something you're ready to really take on and can you do it? Because it's not that it's not that I cut the line because it's people with lived and living experience.
Hmm.
And people that are really still trying to try, and do their thing. We definitely want them on that road to recovery. It works out best if they are got some clean time, recovery time behind them, for sure. But I'm not going to say we exclude you completely if you're not. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, 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 yeah.
And so,
And we'll put you hopefully in situations again. If you're still living it, I wouldn't put you in a placement outside of our organization because we have enough programs within our organization that
okay.
we can have a little bit more of a, I don't know, control on you, an eye on you, whatever it happens to be, or a lot more support for you, within
And
our program.
so when you say the jobs within your organization,
Yeah, yeah.
describe what those job titles would be.
Well,
Just
those would be
for an
some,
idea.
we refer to them as peer navigators.
Okay.
Okay. Or peer supporters. Um, and okay, so how can I describe? So we have a program with the city of Kelowna called the Community Care Project.
Okay.
And this is a contract that we hold with the city where we have our staff that take out people, what we call are literally living rough or on the street, and we go out and do an hour of cleanup in downtown Kelowna. Is what we do is we take them out there, they get the reflective vests on, and we take out 3 people an hour, and then we do that twice a day, both downtown Kelowna and up at Rutland or whatever. And then they're working directly with those people, but they're under our kind of auspicion, like that's our program that they would work in. I
And
don't
so
know if
they're
that's
they're
making sense.
picking up trash off the street,
Right.
or like
Yeah.
would you say they're
Yeah.
like they're just like kind of beautifying the city?
Yeah, exactly. That the word is used. It's a beautification project.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just trying to keep it clean or whatever,
Okay.
and
That's
doing those kinds of
amazing.
stuff. And then it's a little bit of a form of kind of outreach in a way
Mm.
because and the people that participate in the program that the staff take out, literally they either have to just be in a shelter. Maybe I mean, they were literally living in a tent outside, whatever it happened to be, tent city, or literally slept on the street last night or whatever, and just trying to take you out and again, give you something to do, give you some purpose, give you some connection with somebody, someone that you can talk to, give you some respect for that while taking you out, and even other people downtown or on the street seeing you that you are actually doing some work, and it may change their perception of you because I just
And
saw
you'd
you
pay them
yesterday.
cash, or like how
What's
does
that?
that work? You would pay them
Yeah.
cash?
Yeah. So this is a unique thing
Okay.
about this, Milan. This
Yeah.
is really cool, which I think is really cool. It's a little bit
Yeah.
different. we pay them what we call a $20 honorarium for an hour's work.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people think, oh, they're just going to go blow that $20. Well, it's none of my business what they do with their money. And I know of lots of
Yeah.
situations where they've finally gone out and bought themselves a nice meal. You know, they
Yeah.
bought themselves a pair of shoes or saved some money. We had a couple that was coming out continuously kind of stuff, and they saved enough money to buy a bus ticket to go home. That was,
Oh,
a little bit of
nice.
different stuff like that. So, um, that's not up to me. No one's asking me where I
Yeah.
spend my money,
Exactly.
or whatever.
I lived on a little island on the coast, and it was the first place I met a billionaire and a
Okay.
millionaire.
Yeah.
And a bunch of the workers for them, they used to like get mad at what the rich people would buy.
Yeah.
And I always said to my friends, I said, would you be okay with them telling you what to do with your paycheck? I said,
Right.
just because
Yeah.
their paycheck's bigger than ours. I'm like,
Yeah.
nobody has any control over what somebody else does with it. I'm like, that's
No.
part of being free.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the big part for us is paying them,
Mm.
and they've done some work. They've gone out,
Yeah.
and again, it's a little bit of self-respect. They're getting something, and we're
Mm.
not expecting you to volunteer.
Mm.
We're not expecting just to, and again, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with providing a soup and a sandwich for people, that's
Mm.
for sure. But there are organizations that are out there doing that, right? And
Mm.
this kinds of stuff. And I think this is just unique that it's a little bit, we're providing a little bit more. And
I think so.
we're believing you and we're giving you the trust, that you can do this. And again, it's a little bit of a hand up, and it's not about how much garbage you pick up. We're not,
Mm. Yeah.
weighing the garbage or cleaning. We track it, but that's not the biggest thing. The biggest thing is finally they get to feel like they got a purpose, even if it's for 1 hour. At
Mm.
least it's for that time, and I built some connection. They can talk with the staff, and geez, maybe I need some resources. I need some help finding something that. So again, we'll bring them in and like we'll help them out, like
Mm.
finally have that place of connection. And again, and they connect with people who have been where they were
Mm.
at that time, and that's I find such a unique, special bond, and they will. The people that actually like work in our organization kind of have such a compassion and empathy for these people. They don't want to see them treated poorly because
Mm.
they were that one time on the other side of that door,
Mm.
and it really bothers them when something is just unjust in how they've been treated, and they're being treated that way because of the circumstances that they're in, and that's it, and
Nobody looks down on a cancer patient, but they look
yeah,
down on
no,
an addiction person or a
yeah,
mentally ill person.
yeah,
Nobody's like, oh my gosh, you have liver cancer. You're so
right,
weak. Look at
right, yeah,
you.
yeah, I know exactly. And so, and I say I don't know, I just love the bond I see with the people, the
Well,
staff
they
that are
say that
working with the people out there.
there's no greater value than the therapeutic value of one addict helping another.
Yeah, yeah,
Like your great your biggest weakness becomes your greatest asset when you're working
yeah,
with another addict,
yeah,
and that's something that, like it just like y- you might enjoy to see it, but
yeah,
it's something that you'll never really feel
no,
because
yeah,
it's like, even when I was in treatment, I'm like, I couldn't picture one of our counselors here to, I don't care what education you have,
yeah,
but without having, boots on the ground experience,
wow, yeah.
how could you even begin to fully think you could empathize with that?
Yeah, no, and that's so true. And that's the uniqueness of what we offer.
I
You
think
know?
it's really amazing, though, that you've decided to dedicate your life to this, whether it's an occupation or not. It's a
Yeah,
choice.
yeah,
You're choosing to put your hand out, um, to something that, like you yourself don't suffer from, which is
yeah,
amazing to me.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Okay, so how do you encourage Kelowna business owners to have
yeah,
love and acceptance by creating inclusive environments for those in recovery?
yeah. That is one of our biggest challenges. And I call it, it's an education that we have,
Mhm.
and it's a continuous education. Um, and the other part of it is understanding where they're coming from too. Again, if I was, a business owner in a downtown shop or whatever, and I've been theft's been happening, I've had vandalism kinds of stuff. I've got people sleeping outside my front door, whatever it happens to be. Um, I can understand how you can be upset, and
Mhm.
discouraged and kind of down on the people that are causing these kinds of stuff. Um, but again, it's developing or it's creating some kind of relationship, some kind of um, connection and understanding between the two groups, right?
Mhm.
One way or the other, and it's we call it it's kind of relationship building outreach, getting
Mhm.
them to understand a little bit more about what it's like to be out on the street. And it's not just, you know, these people have nowhere else to go. Like, what else do you expect them to do? And again, unfortunately, theft is again a real act of desperation. For sure, I think, and I'm pretty sure 90% of it is very spontaneous. I see an opportunity, I have nothing. Um, here I go. But
Mhm.
the difference is now if I know that business owner, or they maybe even know me, they maybe even know me by my name or whatever. We've built some kind of rapport, some kind of conversation that we've had or something like that. If I'm look at that opportunity at that time that I could cause some vandalism to your place, break into your place, steal from your place, I will step back and go, maybe not. I know this person. They respect me. I'm respecting them. I'm going to step away from this. It's not going to be that spontaneous reaction that I'm going to go do and cause some problems or whatever.
Mhm.
And I think that's, and that doesn't happen in one meeting.
Mhm.
There's a few different times you've got to sit down and have a conversation with some people, but it's kind of a two-way street, and it's not necessarily the answer. Again, it's always this piece of the puzzle. We still need policing, we still need enforcement, you still need security cameras, whatever, all those kinds of stuff. But part of I think what would help your business is again educating yourself a little bit more about their situation, kind of thing, and building a relationship a little bit with them and understanding them somewhat.
Mhm.
I think would be another piece of the puzzle to help you out.
Well,
Exactly.
maybe each side humanizing each other.
Yeah,
Right? Like
exactly.
like
Yeah,
like the addict sees it as the rich business. And it's
right,
not a
right,
human who's affected. And the
right,
business sees it as the thieving addict, the
yeah,
dirty addict. And
right.
each one is dehumanizing the other in its own
Other.
way.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And let's
Mhm.
bridge that gap. You
Yeah.
know, that's
Yeah.
that's that's huge. Yeah. No, you put it very well.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
are often our own worst enemies, and sometimes we're more afraid of making it than failing. Have you
Mm.
seen clients struggle with the freedom that comes with a steady paycheck, and how do you support that transition?
Well, the biggest thing is constantly having them work on what is their goals, what are they trying to attain, and not
Okay.
lose focus on those kinds of things.
Yep.
Exactly, because again, it, it's continuous, right? I mean,
Mm.
recovery again doesn't just end and all of a sudden you're recovered.
No, it's
Right?
forever. Yeah.
It's a daily struggle, right? And it's
Hmm.
and no matter how long you've been in recovery kinds of stuff, it's a battle all the time. Um, and just not let them, understand that how far they've come and the improvements they've made in their life, and not to take a step backwards. They keep working on your goals, what your aspirations, what you want to do. Um, you mentioned the fellow that wanted the Corvette. Well, he didn't get the Corvette the first time, but he's still working that, and
Yep.
maybe he's pivoting to just do a motorcycle now or whatever, get his driver's license.
No,
But
no, shout out
he's
to
got
Randy. He did it. He got it.
Oh, he did it. Oh,
No,
wow.
he got
Okay.
it. He got
Nice.
it and his 1 year, and now he's thinking about a Harley.
Oh, great. See,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
No,
great.
shout
Yeah.
out to Randy. Randy did it, man.
Yeah. So he didn't rest on the laurels. Okay, I've got this and now I'm all fine. He had
Yeah,
a great goal and he
yeah.
accomplished it, right? Yeah, absolutely. That's very
And
cool.
it kept him out of trouble, and he knew
Yeah.
it did.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
he
exactly.
he, he said sitting around too much is when I start getting,
Yeah.
itchy bitchy and twitchy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. No, absolutely. That's right. It's in again, it adds to your purpose.
yeah,
I've got a reason
yep.
why I'm doing this. I'm not just doing it for whatever. I got a purpose here. All right. Yeah.
Okay, in
Yeah.
recovery, we are only as sick as our secrets. How does your society foster an environment of radical honesty between the employee, the employer, and your program?
Yeah, exactly. Oh boy. How do we foster that? It's through a lot of candid conversations. It's
Yep.
through staying curious, not judging, um, as well. And I think you used the word like it's humanizing,
Yeah.
one another is really what we're doing. Like, eh, I sometimes I often think, I mean, it's the same thing, and I've got sympathy and empathy if I saw a dog struggling on the street corner or whatever,
Mm,
you know,
mm,
why don't I give that same empathy and compassion to a human being
yeah.
I see on the corner, right? And not just step by that. Um, so yeah, that's what we really try to emphasize is just that um, that this is a human being,
Yeah.
and they um, I don't know, I'm not gonna say deserve respect, but they deserve the opportunity to show you what they
Mm,
can do,
yeah.
right? And can be and what they can offer um in their own unique way. Because we all have our own unique ways that we can do things. Um,
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Well, we kind of burned through my questions a little bit
Yeah,
quicker than I expected,
that's okay.
but at the
Yeah,
same time, I think this was a great conversation.
yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to say to the people before we?
No, I really don't, Milan, and I really appreciate the conversation as well. And I guess I'm going to say why I appreciate it because it often I I can get into kind of robotic,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yep.
and when I'm presented a lot of times with these questions, it allows me to rethink again,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it just doesn't become an automatic response to stuff like that. Um, so I know, some of your questions are probably found a little bit challenging, which is great, but it allows me to rethink, and
I,
which
uh,
is so
I,
important.
I learned a lot, and I also feel very grateful that you came on.
Yeah,
I'm also very grateful for you for the role you're playing with these people and with our society. There's a real
thank you.
disconnect
Yeah,
addiction and trauma to reintegration and healing,
yeah,
in my opinion, your work is bridging that. And so I want to say
right.
thank you and thank you for coming on today.
Yeah,
And I hope to have you back here in the future. Maybe,
yeah,
like it'd be fun if we maybe did an annual thing. And if there's
sure.
anything new going on,
Going on.
well, yeah, we could have a little conversation again because,
Yeah,
I think that the viewership too cycles over time.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah.
That's
So yeah,
great.
thank you very much for
Yeah,
coming on,
thank
brother.
you.
And
Yeah,
everybody out there, tune in
yeah.
next episode for more recovery fun. Bye bye, everybody.
All
We
right.
love you. Please help us help others. If you'd like what you've seen here today, please subscribe and share this podcast and help us get to 100 followers. We're looking for interaction with our audience. So please email recoveryfreedomrising@gmail.com or contact Milan South Okanagan Starcic on Facebook with questions, topic suggestions, or just comments. We'd love to hear from you.